Gaat u zitten, dames en heren.
Please take a seat, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, het is wel een beetje luid, hè? Good afternoon, dear guests. Welcome to this Natalis, the anniversary celebration of the Ghent University, marking the start of spring.
Welkom ook aan iedereen die nu via de livestream aan het volgen.
Welcome to everybody who is listening via the live stream. There's also translation provided in English and Dutch, and there's also translation via the Flemish sign language.
1 institutional title and 5 honorary doctorates for scientific merit. Dadelijk zullen we uitgebreid kennis maken.
We will soon tell you more about the honorary doctors, but first I would like to give the floor to the Vice Rector of Ghent University, Professor Mieke van Herrewegen. Thank you. Great. I'm not so tall, so dear colleagues, distinguished guests, welcome to this special academic ceremony in which we pay honor to a number of exceptional individuals. An honorary doctorate is more than just a sign of recognition. It is a tribute to intellect, dedication, and the courage to think, discover, and change.
We gather in our esteemed institution, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to science, to knowledge, to academic freedom, and to the values of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. These principles are not mere abstractions. They are the foundation upon which great universities stand. And yet, we know and deeply regret that these values, once considered self-evident, are increasingly questioned in certain corners of society. And I explicitly want to say to those institutions where academic freedom is under threat, we stand by you. Meer dan ooit is het onze taak.
Jullie. More than ever, it is our job to protect science against arbitrariness, to let truth speak against disinformation, and to continue to create space for critical thought and new insights. We will not allow ourselves to be intimidated. Knowledge can only grow where it is allowed to move freely. Our university is a haven for free thinkers, a place where seekers and innovators are given the space to challenge dominant views and are allowed to think outside the box. Multi-perspectivism, the ability to view things from different perspectives, is an essential building block of our academic vision and mission. Only by embracing this diversity of perspectives can we achieve the highest quality in education, research, and societal impact.
Pride that we celebrate today's honorees. Their work exemplifies the transformative power of scholarship and innovation. And while each of them is honored on the basis of their individual merit, it's the first time in the history of our university that the majority of our honorary doctorates are being awarded to women. At the same time, I don't want to dwell on this for too long because I'm convinced that the true meaning of progress is not the celebration of the exceptional, but the moment when the exceptional becomes commonplace. I therefore look forward to the day when a majority of female honorary doctorates is no longer newsworthy, but simply an observation. Dear guests of honor, on behalf of our community, I would like to welcome you to Ghent University and to thank you for having accepted our invitation. I hope that the setting of this rather formal ceremony will have made clear to you that we attach great importance to these honorary degrees. An honorary degree is, first and foremost, a recognition of your academic and/or societal merits. All of you, in your own way, are champions of research, dedication, and collaboration. It's for this reason that we want to honor you today, and at the same time it expresses our wish and intent to strengthen our relationships in the future by including you into our Ghent University community. So let today, the birthday of our university, be a celebration, not just of these remarkable individuals, but of the ideals that we hold dear. The pursuit of truth, the courage to challenge conventions, the determination to build a world in which talent in all its diversity is recognized and nurtured. Let us never forget that words matter, that science matters. Dear colleagues, dear guests, I wish you all a pleasant ceremony. I wish you a happy Dies Natalis.
De Universiteit Gent.
Every year, Ghent University awards honorary doctorates to people who are making the world a better place. They offer an answer to today's concerns, and they also bring hope, perspective, and faith in the future.
Awarded to the German visual artist Ghent Demnig. En hij wordt hier vandaag geëerd voor zijn stolz.
Being honored here today for his life's work, the Stolpersteine, stumbling stones. These are thousands of memorial cobblestones that have been placed in pavements all over Europe in memory of the victims of National Socialism. A unique and special project which is further explained in this video by the promoters of this honorary doctorate, Professor Koen Aerts and Professor Bruno de Wever of the Faculty of Arts and Philosophy.
Het is met grote trots en bijzonder genoegen dat Bruno de Wever en ik de Duitse kunstenaar Ghent Demnig mogen voordragen voor een eredoctoraat. Hoewel hij zichzelf altijd bijzonder bescheiden op de achtergrond stelt, resoneert zijn kunst in vele vakgebieden: geschiedenis, wijsbegeerte, kunst en moraalwetenschappen. Zijn werk is er onderwerp van studie, analyse en inspiratie voor vele generaties wetenschappers. Zijn meest bekende project zijn de Stolpersteinen of struikelstenen. Het is een unieke, monumentale, sociale sculptuur die ons herinnert aan de slachtoffers van het nationaal socialisme. Verspreid in straten en pleinen over heel Europa vind je deze stenen terug op plaatsen waar mensen uit hun bed zijn gelicht, waar mensen gearresteerd werden, weggevoerd, vermoord of verwond. Omwille van hun herkomst, hun geloof, hun idealen, hun strijd van raciaal vervolgden over burgerslachtoffers tot politieke tegenstanders en verzetsmensen. En deze stenen willen mensen even laten stilstaan bij of symbolisch laten struikelen over dat verleden. Als een waarschuwing dat onze vrijheid niet vanzelfsprekend is. De inmiddels meer dan 113.000 struikelstenen in 32 Europese landen zijn evenveel een publieke kunstvorm als een efficiënt studie- en onderwijsinstrument om niet enkel het verleden, maar ook het heden te bevragen. Met zijn werk redt Ghent Demnig niet enkel slachtoffers van de vergetelheid, maar spoort hij ons ook aan om onszelf te ontwikkelen als pleitbezorgers van vrijheid, kritisch historisch bewustzijn en ethisch engagement. Waarden die onlosmakelijk verbonden zijn met de missie van onze faculteit, bij uitbreiding onze universiteit en hopelijk ook onze samenleving. Een eredoctoraat voor hem is daarom net zozeer een eredoctoraat voor iedereen die voor die idealen het leven heeft gegeven, zowel vroeger als vandaag. Daarom gefeliciteerd en vooral ook bedankt Ghent Demnig.
En ik nodig nu de beide promotoren van...
And I would like to invite both promoters of the honorary doctorate, Professor Koen Aerts and Professor Bruno de Wever.
Dear Günther Demnig, for your social artistic project of the Stolpersteine and Stumbling Stones, I am proud that our community of Ghent University is participating in this project by laying Stolpersteine, struikelstenen, for Professor Valère Billet, Assistant Falk Epstein, and alumna Rivka Schor, symbolizing the victims of National Socialism of our university. In the name of a peaceful and just world. Meneer de rector, mag ik u omwille van...
Mr. Rector, may I ask you to award the honorary doctorate to Günther Demnig. Dear guests, at the proposal of the Faculty of Arts and Philosophy and on the decision of the board, I award on behalf of the Ghent University Mr. Günther Demnig the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa for his important societal achievement.
Our next honorary doctorate goes to Professor Sandra Fredman, a leading international authority on equality, anti-discrimination and human rights. En wat ze binnen die domeinen allemaal...
And you will now hear about her achievements in these areas in this video with promoter Professor Pieter Canoot from the Faculty of Law and Criminology.
Het is voor mij een groot genoegen om professor Sandra Fredman voor te stellen. Sandy Fredman is verbonden aan de Universiteit van Oxford en ook oprichter en directeur van de Oxford Human Rights Hub. Als vooraanstaand onderzoeker heeft ze uitzonderlijke bijdragen geleverd aan de ontwikkeling van het vergelijkend gelijkheids- en antidiscriminatierecht en het recht van de mensenrechten. Bovendien heeft ze tijdens haar indrukwekkende carrière academische excellentie steeds gecombineerd met een toewijding aan sociale rechtvaardigheid, waardoor haar werk een grote invloed heeft op theorie en praktijk. Een van de meest invloedrijke wetenschappelijke bijdragen van Sandy Fredman is haar onderzoek naar het concept van materiële gelijkheid. In haar werk heeft ze de aandacht verlegd van formele begrippen van gelijkheid, zoals gelijke behandeling, naar een materieel gelijkheidsdenken, waar ze de rol van het recht benadrukt in het aanpakken van historische en systemische vormen van ongelijkheid op grond van onder meer gender, ras, leeftijd en sociale klasse. Haar boek Discrimination Law is een internationaal erkend basiswerk in zaken discriminatie en gelijkheid en haar visie op materiële gelijkheid als een vierdimensionaal kader wordt wereldwijd toegepast in academisch onderzoek en in de praktijk. Als rechtsgeleerde slaat ze daarbij de brug tussen het globale noorden en zuiden. Zo wordt haar werk regelmatig aangewend door het Hof van Justitie van de Europese Unie, het Europees Hof voor de Rechten van de Mens en de hoogste rechtscolleges van Zuid-Afrika, India en Canada. Sandy Fredman heeft in haar werk consequent aangetoond dat het recht niet louter een abstract systeem van normen is, maar ook een krachtig instrument kan zijn voor het realiseren van sociale rechtvaardigheid in het dagelijks leven van mensen. Gemarginaliseerde minderheden en de onderlinge afhankelijkheid tussen burgerlijke en politieke rechten en sociaal en economische rechten staan dan ook centraal in haar werk. Bovendien heeft haar onderzoek rond gelijkheid en intersectionaliteit ook directe relevantie voor andere disciplines, zoals de criminologische wetenschappen. Naast haar academische activiteiten is Sandy Fredman een vurige pleitbezorger voor de praktische toepassing van onderzoek. Ze richtte de Oxford Human Rights Hub op, een baanbrekend digitaal platform dat academici, praktijkmensen en beleidsmakers van over de hele wereld met elkaar in contact brengt om deel te nemen aan dialogen over mensenrechtenkwesties. Regeringen, NGO's, de Europese Commissie en de Verenigde Naties hebben daarnaast een beroep gedaan op haar expertise en ze heeft advies verleend bij belangrijke constitutionele hervormingen. Het werk van Sandy Fredman getuigt van haar grote invloed op de ontwikkeling van het antidiscriminatierecht en het recht van de mensenrechten en aanverwante disciplines. Haar academisch traject toont een diepe toewijding om de kloof tussen theorie en praktijk te overbruggen en ervoor te zorgen dat wetenschap en het recht fungeren als een katalysator voor sociale transformatie. Het is dan ook een grote eer om namens de faculteit Recht en Criminologie professor Sandra Fredman voor te dragen voor een eredoctoraat van de UGent.
I now invite Professor Canoot on the stage for the formal confirmation of his laudation.
Dear Sandy, I'm very happy and proud to be able to celebrate your achievements today. As one of the most distinguished scholars in equality and discrimination law of our time, your groundbreaking work has not only shaped legal thought, but has also provided a vital framework for safeguarding equality and the rule of law in a time of profound global challenges. At a time where fundamental rights are under increasing pressure, when rising authoritarianism threatens the very foundations of justice, and when equality and indeed humanity are being eroded, your work serves as a beacon of hope and resistance. Through your deep commitment to social change, your work reminds us that law must always serve as a tool for justice, inclusion, and human dignity. Today, as we celebrate your academic excellence, we also recognize your unwavering dedication to defending the values that underpin equal and democratic societies. Meneer de rector, mag ik u omwille van deze redenen vragen om het eer...
For this reason, Mr. Rector, I would like to ask you to award the honorary doctorate to Dr. Sandra Fredman.
Beste aanwezigen, op voorstel van...
Dear participants, at the request of the Faculty of Law and Criminology and on behalf of the board of the university, I would like to award Professor Sandra Fredman the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa for her exceptional scientific achievements.
The third honorary doctorate this afternoon goes to Professor Marina von Keyserlingk. who dedicated her entire academic career to animal welfare. En daarvoor werd ze al veelvuldig bekoren.
And she already received many awards for this, and today she's adding an honorary doctorate from the Ghent University. And her promoters, Professor Christel Moons and Professor Frank Tuitens, will explain the reason for this honorary doctorate.
Dierenwelzijnswetenschap is een jonge discipline, ontstaan eind vorige eeuw. Centraal staat de vraag hoe meten en verbeteren we dierenwelzijn. Iemand die deze wetenschap in grote mate mee vormgegeven heeft, is de persoon die we hier voordragen voor een eredoctoraat, namelijk professor Marina von Keyserlingk, of Nina, zoals ze zich laat noemen. Voor hun twee is zij een van de toonaangevende autoriteiten op het vlak van diergedrag en dierenwelzijn. Wat betreft onderzoek heeft Nina ten eerste belangrijke bijdragen geleverd voor dierenwelzijn vanuit diergeneeskundig perspectief. Zo ontdekte ze dat bij koeien veranderingen in sociale hiërarchie en voedingsgedrag voorbodes zijn van zichtbare ziektesymptomen. Hierdoor kunnen dierenartsen en veehouders nu vroeger ziektes opsporen.
Ten tweede, Nina integreerde concepten uit de humane psychologie om individuele verschillen tussen koeien te onderzoeken. Ze bestudeerde hoe hun vroege sociale ervaringen een invloed hebben op hun veerkracht later in het leven. Ten slotte haalde Nina ook inspiratie bij de sociale wetenschappen om via onderzoek de kloof te dichten tussen de hoge verwachtingen van burgers op het gebied van dierenwelzijn en een veehouderij die worstelt om daaraan te voldoen. Voor haar baanbrekend werk heeft Nina meerdere prestigieuze onderscheidingen ontvangen en is een gegeerde onderzoekspartner. We kijken dan ook uit naar onze verdere samenwerking, waarin we nagaan hoe de snelle opkomst van generatieve AI ons wereldbeeld over de veehouderij beïnvloedt.
Nina ontwikkelde meerdere opleidingen rond dierenwelzijn en ontving tal van onderwijsprijzen. Ze is vastberaden om een leeromgeving te creëren die nieuwsgierigheid en kritisch denken stimuleert. Veel van haar voormalige studenten leiden nu onderzoeksgroepen wereldwijd.
Nina's baanbrekend onderzoek en scherpe vragen brachten cruciale inzichten over het voederen, huisvesten en managen van rundvee. Die inzichten heeft ze breed gedeeld via haar talrijke voordrachten, publicaties en aanwezigheid in de media. Haar adviezen aan industrie en overheden, inclusief recent nog de Vlaamse overheid, hebben de levenskwaliteit van landbouwdieren over de hele wereld verbeterd.
En zelfs over controversiële onderwerpen, zoals het scheiden van kalveren van hun moederkoe, schuwt Nina het debat niet. Maar ze doet dit steeds op een respectvolle en verbindende manier. Omwille van al deze redenen is het een eer om, uit naam van de faculteit Diergeneeskunde van de Universiteit Gent, professor Marina von Keyserlingk voor te dragen voor een eredoctoraat.
Professor Moons, professor Tuitens, aan u het woord nu.
Professor Moons and Professor Tuitens, I give you the floor now for the official presentation of this honorary doctorate.
Dear Professor von Keyserlingk, dear Nina, we are so honored to have you here with us in Ghent. We have spent an amazing week together. You met with the PhD community to talk about your career path, gave an inspirational presentation as ambassador of our newly launched Animal Welfare Network of the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, taught our students on welfare of dairy cattle, and participated in the Life Sciences Research Day as a keynote speaker. At that last event, yesterday, you baffled everyone, not only by your fascinating 20-minute keynote presentation, but also because you did it flawlessly, without any slides or text to support you when the projection technology failed us. Many of us were so impressed that you may have started a new academic trend.
Thank you, Nina, for sharing with us your knowledge, your skills, your decades of experience. Our discussions of opportunities for more collaborations in the future leave us excited. Your academic achievements are stellar, and your impact on science and society are impressive, to say the least. You have not only furthered the field of animal welfare in general and improved the lives of many dairy cows and other animals, you have also done this in a manner that builds bridges between policymakers, industry, researchers, and other stakeholders. Finally, we stand by our statement that you are genuinely a nice person. Thank you very much and congratulations. Meneer de rector, mag ik u omwille van deze eer...
Mr. Rector, may I ask you to award the honorary doctorate to Professor van Keizerlink.
Beste genodigden, op voorstel van de faculteit.
Dear guests, upon the proposal of the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, on behalf of the University of Ghent, I award the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa to Professor Marina von Keizerlink for her innovative scientific research.
We have now more or less reached the halfway point in this official ceremony. I do believe that calls for a musical interlude. And to that end, we have invited violinist Veronique de Rademaker and pianist Alexander de Klerk. En zij vormen samen het duo Altiler. Alexander en Veronique die hebben elkaar leren kennen in 2022 aan de Hochschule für Musik und Tanz in Keulen. En die ligt in een straat.
They met in the Hochschule für Musik und Tanz in Cologne in 2022, and they didn't really like the name An der Linden, and that's why they renamed their group Altiler, the duo Altiler, and they still have the habit of meeting around that tree. They also made it to Clara's newest batch of twintigers, the newest batch of Clara's 20-somethings, a gang of young promising musicians on the verge of a breakthrough, and this year they also became laureates of Supernova, Clara's chamber music competition, and soon they will perform Bela Bartok's folk dances. And Bartok traveled for years with an old tape recorder to the most remote mountain regions and villages of Eastern Europe in search of folk melodies of the past. So he heard some Romanian melodies played on a shepherd's flute, and he based these Romanian folk dances on that. So I give you Veronique de Rademaker and Alexander de Klerk, the duo Altiler.
We zijn toe aan het volgende.
Okay, we're ready for the next honorary doctorate. It goes to Professor Ms Korsten, President.
Expert in food safety and regulatory control. We maken even verder kennis met haar in...
We get to know her a little further in this video from her promoters, Professor Marijke Daas and Professor Mieke Uytendale of the Faculty of Bioengineering.
Het is met volle overtuiging dat we vanuit de faculteit Bio-ingenieurswetenschappen collega Lisa Korsten voordragen voor een eredoctoraat aan de Universiteit Gent.
Professor Korsten is verbonden aan de Faculty of Natural and Agricultural Sciences aan de Universiteit van Pretoria, waar haar onderzoek aanvankelijk gericht was op gewasbescherming en goede landbouwpraktijken. In 1992 ontwikkelde ze het eerste biologische bestrijdingsmiddel voor de Zuid-Afrikaanse fruitsector. Later richtte ze zich ook op na-oogstprocessen en voedselveiligheid, met als motto Safe Food for All. Professor Korsten zet haar kennis actief in en heeft impact. Ze sprak het Zuid-Afrikaanse parlement toe over regelgeving in voedselveiligheid en is internationaal bekend als expert bij de FAO en WHO.
Doorheen haar hele carrière benadert professor Korsten voedselketens integraal, van boer tot bord. Met haar onderzoek streeft ze naar economische, duurzame productieketens die niet alleen voldoende en veilig voedsel leveren, maar ook rekening houden met lokale uitdagingen en de eisen van globale ketens. De Zuid-Afrikaanse context vraagt zowel aandacht voor mensen met beperkte toegang tot gezonde voeding, als voor het versterken van de belangrijke exportsector.
Wie eenmaal kennis heeft gemaakt met professor Korsten is onder de indruk van haar gedrevenheid en scherpe blik. Ze is een echte pionier in multidisciplinair onderzoek. Samenwerken is voor haar geen werkwoord, maar een intuïtieve benadering. Haar samenwerkingen reiken van alfa tot beta-wetenschappen, van Afrika tot Europa en Amerika, met diverse stakeholders, van grote retailers tot kleinschalige boeren en voedselbanken. Haar sterke wetenschappelijke output met oog voor praktische toepassing heeft geresulteerd in een indrukwekkend track record van publicaties.
Professor Korsten is een inspirerend voorbeeld hoe je onderzoek combineert met maatschappelijk engagement. Met innovatief onderzoek in het globale zuiden zet ze zich in voor voedselzekerheid en duurzame ontwikkeling van lokale en mondiale landbouw. Als co-directeur van het Center for Excellence in Food Security en sinds augustus 2023 de eerste vrouwelijke voorzitter van de African Academy of Science werkt zij vol enthousiasme aan de versterking en empowerment van Afrika.
Van haar hebben we geleerd hoe belangrijk het is om het perspectief en wereldbeeld van anderen te begrijpen en te waarderen, zodat we samen oplossingen kunnen vinden voor de vele maatschappelijke uitdagingen.
Professor Korsten is bovenal een enthousiaste en warme persoonlijkheid. Al in 1996 ontving zij een uitwisselingsstudent van de Universiteit Gent. Sindsdien heeft zij zich, zowel op informele als formele manieren, intensief samengewerkt met onze faculteit. De Universiteit van Pretoria was partner in het door Gent gecoördineerde Europese Veggie Trade project en blijft een waardevolle partner in onze International Master in the Rural Development.
Eén uitspraak van Lise die ik altijd heb onthouden is: jullie Europeanen hebben de klok, wij in Afrika hebben de tijd. Bedankt, Lise, dat je de tijd hebt genomen om dit eredoctoraat te aanvaarden en ons te bezoeken aan de Universiteit Gent.
Professor Daas.
Professor Daas, Professor Uytendale, I would like to invite you to come on stage, and I'm happy to give you the floor.
Dear Professor Korsten, dear Lise, we're so happy to have you back here in our midst at Ghent University. It's been some years since you were here, and indeed, thank you for taking the time, because you're a very busy woman flying all the way from Pretoria down here back to Brussels and to Ghent on this very beautiful day, especially for you. Now, we want to thank you and appreciate all your commitment, really, you have and continuous commitment you have to improvement for food security and food safety. And that's indeed for all. That was also always your motto. Not always only for the industrialized or long chains, but really also for the informal settled. And we really learned a lot from you from that. I learned from you about what is equitable partnership and how to have attention for everybody around. So you are an inspiring person, and I think you inspired a lot of us, and you're really an example for many of us at the faculty, at the university. So thank you for that.
Meneer de rector, mag ik?
Mr. Rector, may I ask you to award this honorary doctorate to Professor Lisa Korsten. Dear attendees, upon the proposal of the Faculty of Bioengineering and by decision of the board, on behalf of Ghent University, I award Professor Lisa Korsten with the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa for her pioneering scientific merit.
Our next honorary doctorate will be awarded to Professor Klaus Kummerer in recognition of his pioneering contributions to sustainable chemistry. Professor Evelien Wijnendale en
Professor Evelien Wijnendale and Professor Serge van Kalenberg of the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences tell you a bit more about his pioneering work within the pharmaceutical chemistry in this short video.
Het is een eer om vanuit de faculteit Farmaceutische Wetenschappen professor Klaus Kummerer voor te dragen voor een eredoctoraat. Als directeur van het Institute for Sustainable Chemistry aan de Leuphana Universiteit van Lüneburg heeft hij baanbrekend onderzoek verricht naar duurzame farmaceutische chemie.
Zijn werk heeft een cruciale rol gespeeld in de bewustwording dat geneesmiddelen na inname door de mens al dan niet in gemetaboliseerde vorm in het milieu terechtkomen. De lange termijn effecten hiervan zijn nog onvoldoende gekend, maar dankzij het onderzoek van professor Kummerer weten we bijvoorbeeld dat bepaalde antibiotica die in huishoudelijk en ziekenhuisafvalwater belanden, niet alleen waterzuiveringsinstallaties kunnen verstoren en zo onveranderd in onze wateren terechtkomen, maar ook kunnen bijdragen aan de toenemende resistentie van pathogene bacteriën.
Zijn onderzoek naar het milieugedrag van chemicaliën heeft de aanpak van farmaceutische residuen in afvalwater sterk beïnvloed. Hoewel technieken zoals ozonisatie, actieve kool en ultrafiltratie enige effectiviteit bieden, bestaat er geen enkele technologie die alle actieve farmaceutische stoffen kan elimineren zonder een aanzienlijke ecologische voetafdruk. Deze uitdaging vormde de basis voor het door professor Kummerer ontwikkelde benign by design concept.
A clever person solves a problem, a wise person avoids it. Geïnspireerd door dit adagium van Einstein beoogt dit concept geneesmiddelen te ontwikkelen die effectief en voldoende lang werken in de patiënt, maar na uitscheiding snel afgebroken worden tot biologisch inerte stoffen met minimale milieu-impact. Hij heeft dit concept reeds toegepast op verschillende geneesmiddelenklassen, waaronder antibiotica en beta-blokkers.
Dat zijn onderzoek visionair is, blijkt uit de recente voorstellen voor een hervorming van de Europese farmaceutische wetgeving, waarin duurzaamheid en milieueffecten voor het eerst expliciet aan bod komen. Zijn werk rond duurzame chemie en materiaalschaarste, met focus op afvalreductie en milieuvriendelijke productieprocessen, draagt bovendien bij aan een duurzamere farmaceutische industrie.
Professor Kummerer behoort tot de wereldtop in de milieuwetenschappen en is de meest geciteerde milieuwetenschapper van Duitsland. Zijn uitzonderlijke bijdragen zijn bekroond met prestigieuze onderscheidingen die zowel zijn wetenschappelijke als zijn maatschappelijke impact erkennen. Zijn werk was de inspiratiebron voor de oprichting van onze internationale masteropleiding in Sustainable Drug Discovery, die inmiddels aan zijn 3e jaargang toe is en getalenteerde studenten aantrekt van over heel de wereld.
Ook professor Kummerer is sterk betrokken bij het onderwijs. Hij speelde een sleutelrol bij de oprichting van duurzaamheidsgerichte studieprogramma's aan zijn universiteit. Als oprichter van de Green and Sustainable Chemistry Conferences en hoofdredacteur van toonaangevende wetenschappelijke tijdschriften draagt hij actief bij aan de ontwikkeling van het vakgebied en in de opleiding van toekomstige generaties wetenschappers, wat ook wij met SDISCO beogen.
Professor Kummerer, dankzij uw onvermoeibare inzet heeft u niet alleen ons vakgebied verrijkt, maar ook een substantiële bijdrage geleverd aan een duurzamere samenleving. Uw werk wijst de weg naar milieuvriendelijkere praktijken binnen de farmaceutische wetenschappen, een pad dat wij met toewijding zullen blijven volgen en verder ontwikkelen binnen onze faculteit.
Het woord is aan beide promotoren.
I give the floor to both promoters, Professor Wijnendalen and Professor van Kalenberg.
Dear Professor Kummerer, dear Klaus, we met each other several times on conferences where we both discussed aspects on sustainability in pharmacy, both in early drug discovery but also in drug development. Your insights have been a great source of inspiration, not only for us, but also for Emeritus Bart de Spiegeler, contributing to the creation of our International Master in Sustainable Drug Discovery, SDISCO. Because we agree with you, we need to act now and train our new generation of students to become leaders in fostering a more sustainable future. Your work is not only important in the field of pharmaceutical sciences, as reflected in the appreciation expressed by colleagues from other faculties as well. We are therefore very proud to serve as your promoters for this honorary doctorate. Meneer de rector, mag ik u omwille van...
Mr. Rector, based on the aforementioned arguments, may I ask you to grant the honorary doctorate to Professor Klaus Kummerer. Dear attendees, upon the proposal of the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences and by decision of the board, on behalf of the Ghent University, I grant Professor Klaus Kummerer the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa because of his pioneering scientific merit.
En dan volgt nu een dankwoord in naam.
Then, on behalf of the 5 doctors honoris causa, a word of thanks brought by Professor Marina von Keyserlink.
Your acknowledgements on behalf of the other honorary doctorates we've just honored. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and Dies Natalis, happy birthday, Ghent University. It is with great honor to speak on behalf of my fellow laureates this afternoon to express our gratitude to the rector and to the vice-rector and Ghent University for bestowing this honor upon us and welcoming us into your esteemed academic community with the conferral of the honorary doctorates. Also, on behalf of my fellow laureates, I would like to express our heartfelt thanks to all of the promoters, and no doubt many names that are not written down of individuals that supported the making of the dossiers that went forward. Thank you so much. I think I can safely say that for all of us, it was indeed an unexpected honor. None of us ever thought about something like this. To be recognized for the work that we as individuals have pursued passionately during our careers. Thank you again. Although our professional interests are varied, it was clear to me as I read all of my fellow laureates' profiles that were online that what binds us all together is that all of us are working towards a better future for those that will follow after us. And we are all also working in fields that are aligned with Ghent University's mission statement, working towards a more humane and sustainable future. It is this last point that I would like to reflect upon a little more. One only has to look at the news feeds every day to see that we are living in unprecedented times. It has been decades since we have experienced such global unrest and divisiveness. Thus, as we stand within the halls of Ghent University, it is important for all of us to remember that we must always strive to seek to making a better world for those that come after us. As individuals representing different regions of the world, we are committed within our own disciplines to continue to strive for a better world, and collectively, we will no doubt achieve more than any one of us alone. Indeed, it is a privilege to be associated as we do this journey as individuals and as a collective, to be able to do it in collaboration with our new colleagues at Ghent University, within the university and also abroad. Lastly, I don't know if any of you are in the room, but for the thousands of students who are registered at Ghent University today, who I think you have a day off today, but and you're engaged as you do your different degrees and you're learning and hopefully also discussing. Hopefully everybody agrees with me. We task you to be courageous in your thinking, to take risks in your thinking, but also take time to listen to others. As likely my fellow laureates will also agree, based on what happened today for us, you never know what road you're going to travel. We hope that those of you, you're inspired by what we did. We didn't do it for the accolades. We did it because we are passionate about leaving the world in a better place for those that come after us. On behalf of all the laureates, thank you again.
Thank you very much, Professor von Keyserlink. Laten we nog even naar wat muziek luisteren nu.
We will listen to some music from Claude Debussy, part of his violin sonata, the last work he completed before his death in 1918. So, Veronique de Rademaker en Alexander de Klerk, duo Altiller.
doctoraat.
There's one more honorary doctorate, the institutional honorary doctorate. And this year the honor is to Ms Christiana Figueres, one of the most respected voices.
Die mensen en meningen verbindt in het vaak verhitte klimaatdebat.
She is a bridge builder who connects different points of view and people in the often heated climate debate. Rector Rick van de Walle is the promoter of this institutional honorary doctorate. Mr. Minister President, dear guests, dear colleagues and students, every year 5 and sometimes 6 of our 11 faculties take turns nominating a candidate for an honorary doctorate for scientific merit. As you have noticed, we will award 5 very special honorary doctorates today to people who have pushed back boundaries in their field of study, or in the case of Günther Demnig, in their profession, and who serve as an example to others. Our faculties each nominate a candidate independently of one another. We do not suggest an overarching theme or a common thread for that. And that's the right way to do. In this way, we can be sure that the proposed candidates enjoy support in the relevant faculty community. And the result of that exercise usually is a heterogeneous group of people, all of them excellent scientists who are among the very best in their specific field or their scientific niche. So that is a common thread that there is always, of course. But in general, they are leading academics whose research interests have little or nothing in common. And that is fine too, because this illustrates the comprehensive nature of our institution. At Ghent University, it should be possible to study everything, and I really mean everything, on one condition: the highest scientific standards must always be observed. Just to be clear, nothing has changed in this procedure this year. But if we look at the result, we can see something quite remarkable: animal welfare in dairy farming systems, food safety and food security in the global south, sustainable chemistry and the environmental behavior of medicines, social justice and human rights, the fundamental values that underlie a humane and inclusive society. Dear guests, colleagues, students, if we look at the specializations of our 5 new honorary doctors, you have to conclude that this year our faculty certainly did not only consider the pure scientific merits of their candidates for an honorary doctorate, but that they also very clearly considered the social, societal dimension of their work: animal welfare, food security, environmental protection, human rights, respect for human dignity. These are quite a few items on the list of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And as such, all 5 of them are related to urgent social challenges. Although there is perhaps one challenge missing, without doubt the most urgent of them all: climate change. No, dear friends, there was no sophisticated plan behind our choice of the institutional honorary doctorate for this year. No, we were not interested in inviting someone who could form the thematic conclusion of our faculty honorary doctorates. Can we then conclude that this somewhat unexpected common thread is based on pure coincidence? Well, to be honest, I don't think so. Far from it. At Ghent University, the social dimension in what we do is not just a mission, but it is a matter that goes without saying. Human or animal rights are not just a subject of study at this university, but a matter of genuine concern. Sustainability is not a fad, but a deep commitment that is at the heart of all our core tasks and our business operations. And climate change is also an issue of great concern, at least to me, on a daily basis, and about which I am seriously worried. Not because of defeatism. No, I think that our planet can take rough handling and will not go down the tubes that easily. But I am worried out of a sense of responsibility. We must take sustained action now, today, to avoid ending up in situations that may threaten humankind and its current way of life. Take responsibility and take action. And of course, this led us quickly to Christiana Figueres. Yes, indeed, Christiana Figueres, former leading figure within the United Nations, the architect of the so-called Paris Agreement, and today CEO of Global Optimism, an organization dedicated to positive climate action.
I am often asked what keeps me up at night. Here is what keeps me up. I see 7 sets of eyes of 7 generations beyond me asking me, what did you do? What did you do? The same question will be asked of each of you. May we all be able to stand tall and clearly say, we did everything that was necessary. Honorable Madam Figueres, dear Christiana, you will recognize these words, as you uttered them exactly a decade ago at the 2015 United Nations Climate Change Conference in Paris, just days before the historic Paris Agreement was adopted. As the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, you played a pivotal role in this success. Through your remarkable efforts, from the lead up to the ultimate adoption of this agreement, we came to know you as a visionary leader and tireless advocate for climate action. While some respond to the challenges of our times with resignation, cynicism, or even, as we are witnessing today, sheer stupidity, and others with alarmism or even despair, there is also another, more optimist group. They are the ones that are kept up at night, asking themselves what needs to be done, or rather, what they can do to create positive, long-term change for future generations. With an immense amount of work still ahead for the current and the next generations, we can say that back then, in Paris, you, Christiana, did everything that was necessary. an agreement that safeguards the most vulnerable and unleashes the full force of human ingenuity toward prosperity for all as the centerpiece for a sustainable future. To us, as a university, these words, your words, are music to our ears. Situated at the core of the so-called knowledge triangle, research, education, and innovation, universities are venues for unleashing the full force of human ingenuity. At Ghent University, we are strongly committed to continuing this vital role, being, producing cutting-edge research, passing it on to future generations, and transforming it into innovative solutions. This is what our academics do day in and day out, driven by the belief that their efforts can bring prosperity and a more sustainable future, that these efforts are indeed necessary. I am sure that your unwavering commitment to environmental sustainability and your ability to inspire global cooperation resonate deeply with the ambitions of many of our staff and students. They share your determination to tackle the global challenges such as climate change, harnessing the greatest force of human ingenuity, being science. Dear Christiana, just like in 2015, I am sure that you still are kept up at night quite often, asking yourself what needs to be done. And in the morning, you start reaching out to others to join you in doing what is necessary. You are a bridge builder and a world-class negotiator. You bring hope in difficult times, as well as trust in what, to me, is the only solution to any local and global challenge: cooperation. Cooperation across ideological, geographical, and cultural divides. With these exceptional qualities, you are an inspiration for many of us, and we are therefore extremely grateful that you have accepted to become a Doctor Honoris Causa of Ghent University. Christiana Figueres.
Dear guests, dear colleagues, on the recommendation of the Rectorate and by decision of the Executive Board, I hereby award on behalf of Ghent University, for all the reasons I have just enumerated and with great conviction, an institutional honorary doctorate and the title of Doctor Honoris Causa to Mrs. Christiana Figueres. Welcome, welcome to our university community.
Well, good afternoon to all of you. Mr. President, Rector van der Walle, thank you so much for those extremely generous words. Madam Vice Rector, thank you for your collegiate decision. Fellow honorary doctorants, distinguished faculty, respected students, of whom I hope there are at least a few here today, invited guests, and dear friends. It is truly a joy and an honor to be here today with all of you. I have been so impressed by the musical talent that has been displayed here today. And I must be very upfront about my relief that the invitation that I received was not for a cantus celebration, because having absolutely no musical talent myself, I would have been probably cleaning the floor here after all of you had finished singing at the cantus celebration. I do, however, know how to recognize talent in others. And in that spirit, I celebrate the academic excellence of this historic institution on its 208th anniversary. I celebrate your long tradition of groundbreaking research and significant contributions to the world in the fields of medicine, biotechnology, material science, psychology, history, law, among so many other fields of endeavor. These venerable halls have produced several Nobel laureates, internationally recognized inventors, and an astronaut. And you have actually figured out how to wrap 600 kilos of smoked ham around the pillars of the Aula Academica.
I don't know.
How did that happen? An achievement for which you are definitely due for the Nobel Prize in Physics. Now, I only wish that climate change, the global physics problem par excellence, could be as easily solved. And sadly, on that front, as we have heard already from the rector, we find ourselves at a time of profound gravity. We know our current path is unsustainable. Last year, our planet crossed the 1.5 degree threshold for the first time. That is not a mere statistical milestone, but a stark reminder of our rapidly closing window for action. While greenhouse gas emissions continued their relentless rise in 2024, we witnessed last year over 40 nations going to the ballot box, and a few more this year. The consequences of those elections are unfolding in front of our disbelieving eyes, as reckless climate denial and irresponsible political confrontations threaten to unravel years of careful progress. In addition to slowing down the decarbonization of our economies, what pains me deeply is that we are witnessing the dismantling of climate action as a unifying force for social justice, for racial equality, for women's opportunities, for children's rights, for the protection of ancestral lands, and the health of both humans and ecosystems. These challenges are intimately interconnected. Their intersectionality has taken us years to fully comprehend. And just as we had finally understood those crucial connections, they're being overthrown. Not only in relation to climate, but also as specific social and structural inequalities. Precisely when we need radical collaboration to address global social and environmental challenges, the opposite is taking over in many corners of the world. So the question then is, what do we do? One immediate response is to look away and pretend it's not happening. But indifference will only lead to worsening conditions. Another response could be to export the responsibility to others, assuming we have no influence over the matter. Understandable, but not a response that helps to bring about any change. The wiser option is to deeply ground ourselves in our own agency, our capacity to rise to the task. So let's start by recognizing that we cannot abdicate the responsibility of leadership to current national leaders. If we don't have the leadership we want, we have to call forth the leadership we need. This is the moment for each one of us to step up and step in, discovering the leader within ourselves. And friends, good leaders have a strong back and a soft front. A strong back and a soft front. The strong back is one that you are all familiar with, as we have seen already here today. It is about insightfully applying all our knowledge, data sets, analytical models, technological capacities to the challenges that we face. At Ghent University, I trust I don't have to talk about how to apply knowledge to the problems of the world, climate change and others. We have seen that you are doing this, and you hopefully stand for the fundamental role of any university, to be true to science, and on that basis, to build the future we want. So, I would like to offer some thoughts on the complementary aspect of leadership, the soft front of leadership. Now, conveniently, like knowledge, it also begins with a K, and it is kindness. You may be surprised that that is my choice, but let's just start by understanding that kindness is not weakness. Kindness requires immense courage. The courage to choose compassion when it would be easier to choose indifference. The courage to reach across divides when it would be more comfortable to remain distant or, alas, even antagonistic. In this era of confrontations, kindness becomes an act of radical support for each other, where each of us can think and act from our highest sense of self, with unbounded positive impact, because what makes kindness truly powerful is its ripple effect, like dropping a stone in still water. Each act of kindness creates waves that extends far beyond what we can see. We know many things have to change. We know that, and we're dedicated to that. But let us not forget that all change occurs as the result of interactions between people. How would the world be different if kindness were the marrow of our bones? if each of our interactions were grounded in caring for each other, for those we know, and especially for those we have never met. In this world of confrontations, kindness has sadly become a scarce resource. We can ensure it remains a renewable resource and is constantly renewed. Some people attribute to the renowned anthropologist, Dr. Margaret Mead, the story that she was once asked, what was the first sign of civilization? And after a thoughtful pause, she answered that the first sign of civilization was a healed femur bone. 30,000 years ago, in humanity's earliest days, a broken thigh bone was a death sentence. Even if the victim could have survived the injury, they would not have been able to gather food or defend themselves against an animal attack. A broken thigh bone was a slow but certain death, unless some other person acted beyond their own self-interest out of compassion and kindness to provide the necessary care over an extended period of time. So friends, in our journey toward healing our fractured world, we would do well to recognize that civilization actually emerged and is based on not dominance, but vulnerability and care. Just as our ancestors faced the choice between self-preservation or compassion, between isolation and connection, we stand today at a decisive crossroads. Will we remain trapped in discrimination and confrontation? Or will we choose, with fierce determination, to walk the path of kindness, of solidarity with each other, of common purpose, and as you pointed out, of the fundamentals of a humane and inclusive society? The brokenness we see today is not our final state. Like a plant breaking through harsh soil to reach sunlight, we must break through the walls that divide us. Because in our interconnected world, when one part of humanity suffers, we all bear the wound. Those of us alive right now can be the mindful guardians of a future based on care and connection. We have within us the capacity to transform any reality that we're given, into the reality that we want. One where broken bones, broken spirits, and broken systems all find their healing. This is the decisive decade, not just for climate change, but for redefining what it means to be human. We could be in the midst of the most critical rite of passage humanity has ever experienced. We can choose to be cultivators of a world where healing happens through millions of small acts of care, rippling outward to touch every corner of society. Friends, may each of you thrive in countless intentional acts of kindness, and may each of you bring that ray of light to a world that sorely needs it. Thank you.
so much, Ms Figueres, for this impressive acceptance speech. Geef ik nu nog maar...
Then I'll pass the floor to Rector Rick van der Wallen for his final considerations for today.
Meneer de minister-president.
Dear Minister President, dear invitees, dear colleagues, dear students, good friends of Ghent University. On this Dies Natalis, we once again welcome some extraordinary people to our academic community. Their work and dedication have a profound and lasting impact on our society. Their efforts, insights, and perseverance embody some of our university's core values, namely openness, pluralism, and civic engagement. Dear Günther, keeping the past alive and making history tangible is your mission. Your Stolpersteine are not only an artistic statement, but they are also a profound social act. You find an ally in our academic community in your call for permanent vigilance against injustice, because we have to and because it matters. Dear Sandra, with your scientific work and social commitment, you embody the essence of what academia can do for society. Vulnerable people in our society are close to your heart. Continue to be an inspiration to us in your struggle for more social justice, for a society where every voice counts. Dear Nina, recognition and attention to welfare go beyond the human domain. The specific commitment you show around animal welfare makes you a pioneer. In your work, you connect science and practice, and in this way, you demonstrate the value of universities in our society on a daily basis, and this deserves great respect and emulation. Dear Lisa, science can be a driving force for societal change, and your pioneering work is a telling example. Your pioneering research contributes to a safer and more resilient food chain. You create solutions relevant to global food security. You are a powerful guide for us. Dear Klaus, every day you help lead the transition towards a greener future. Your work illustrates how science can actively contribute to solving the environmental problems we face. Your vision and work are particularly inspiring for researchers and policymakers and students alike. And dear Christiana, your work and persistent fight for climate action make you an icon of hope and determination. In a world where the effects of climate change are increasingly visible, you offer a vision based not only on urgency, but also on optimism and cooperation. You are a bridge builder. You know how to create harmony and bring confidence to the often heated climate debate. You connect opinions and you connect people, while always keeping the global objectives in mind. You are an exceptional leader. Our academic community is particularly honored to welcome you as one of its honorary doctors. Dear people, with their research work, their personalities as well, and most certainly their commitment, our new honorary doctors do indeed connect with the core values of our university. And this is therefore a good time to speak in their presence here and now, to speak about explicitly about what concerns us as an academic community. I would like to seize this opportunity to bring up one theme only, more explicitly, and that is the importance of autonomy and academic freedom. Now, you may be thinking, well, surely you talked about that before. And yes, I talked about it before. More than that, I talked about it many times. And I do so because I think it's important. And because I believe that autonomy and academic freedom should never be regarded as definitively acquired, any more than freedom of speech, for that matter. In times when we read just about daily news stories that painfully touch on the core of our academic uniqueness, this academic uniqueness and its core must be defended. That has to happen here in Ghent, but also worldwide. And so that is what I wanted to do. In the United States, since time immemorial, the place to be for many scientists, there is currently a brain drain. Or at least it's feared that this brain drain is coming. Just a few days ago, I was asked by journalists whether our university was already making policy decisions to address this. And in all openness and in all honesty, I have to say no. For the time being, we haven't taken such decisions. And whether we should do so in the near future, to be honest, we haven't decided yet. We need to think it thoroughly through, and we'll do so, including, but undoubtedly not exclusively, within our research council. Here and now, I think it's important to keep a cool head and to focus on the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter, in my opinion, is this. We, as an academy, must do everything possible to reverse the underlying reasons for a possible brain drain in the US by continuing to insist on the importance of the academy, the importance of trade. And we have to do so for as long as necessary, and very long if we have to. What American universities are currently experiencing was unthinkable until recently. Universities should be able to operate autonomously without political interference. And the way President Trump and his entourage are speaking and acting towards institutions that have been for many decades drivers of knowledge creation and progress is downright problematic. I'm therefore concerned about what is currently happening in the US. Political control of the core functions of universities and de facto silencing some academics is unacceptable. And that's both in the US and elsewhere. Therefore, I express here my explicit support to all universities and colleagues who are pressurized by politicians to adjust or even stop their academic activities. We should never accept politicians having the highest say in universities. That belongs to all staff and students of the universities themselves. Universities such as University Ghent derive to exist from the space given to researchers and lecturers to create unfettered knowledge, to think critically and to fearlessly share the results. Free research, free thought, being able to speak freely without being subjected to external pressure is a much needed condition that must be met for science to flourish, for the boundaries of our knowledge to be pushed and for knowledge to be shared to the maximum. And this sharing of knowledge brings me to another core aspect of universities, the strong and necessary intertwining of teaching and scientific research. For it is its autonomy and academic freedom that nurture the inextricable link between education and research. The freedom of research and of researchers allows students to be directly involved in current and innovative knowledge development. This not only strengthens students' intellectual formation, it also ensures that our education is constantly fed by the latest scientific insights. Through this interaction, students not only become the receivers of existing knowledge, but also active participants in the further creation of knowledge. And this dynamic interplay is what distinguishes universities from other knowledge institutions. It's a precious interplay that we should cherish, especially in times when it is under threat. In recent years, Ghent University has developed numerous initiatives that lay the foundations for a healthy, strong future. Very many staff and students have contributed to this. I take this opportunity to thank them explicitly for this. And the further elaboration of these initiatives requires the necessary care and follow-up with respect for our identity as an independent university where everyone, literally everyone, is welcome. With the strength and experience of many, University Ghent deserves a prominent place in the debate on the importance of scientific research, academic education and social commitment, starting from trust, believing and even knowing that we are capable of a lot of things. That's our mission. That's what University Ghent stands for. In Flanders, in Belgium, in Europe, and in the whole world, we all need independent academics and collaborators and students. Not only academics and collaborators, we also need students. Students who over time venture out into the world with a rucksack full of new knowledge and critical sense. From time to time, they return to their alma mater because you may graduate, but you never finish studying. Universities and in general, and Ghent University in particular, are needed to discover paths where no one else has gone before. And may the new honorary professors inspire us to do so. They each proved in their own way that it can be done. Dear invitees, this Dies Natalis is a moment of recognition and gratitude. We reflect on the work of our honorary doctors and the achievements of so many in our academic community. We celebrate that the university is a place where ideas can germinate, can grow, and can be shared freely with the rest of the world. Let us take our responsibility together to help set the course in this time of change. Whether it's about social justice, climate, technological innovation, or ethical issues, your and our commitment matters. It really matters. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your commitment. And I thank you above all for your trust in our university. May this Dies Natalis inspire you to propagate the foundations of our academic community even more firmly, beyond university borders, and may the university remain a beacon when it comes to defending the importance of scientific research, academic teaching, and social commitment. Unbound and free. Brisk and free as well. Thank you all for your kind attention.
Hartelijk dank.
Thanks a lot, Rector van der Wallen.
Ceremonie. Ik nodig u allen uit om recht te staan voor de 3 hymnes.
Please rise for the 3 hymns.
truly come to the end of this ceremony. On behalf of Ghent University, I invite you all to the reception. We gaan eerst een foto nemen van alle eredoctores op de trappen aan de benedenfoyer.
First, we will take a photo of all the honorary doctors on the stairs, so they will be accompanied by our hosts, and I would ask you to allow the academic procession to pass first. I wish you a very pleasant evening.